You've seen it before. A beautiful woman, radiant, confident, full of life, walking beside a man who, at first glance, doesn't seem to fit. He's not particularly handsome. His clothes don't speak luxury. His smile doesn't say safe. Sometimes, he doesn't even seem to notice she's there. And you, the man watching this, feel something twist inside. Not jealousy, not bitterness, but a quiet ache, the ache of confusion. What is she thinking? You show up on time. You ask about her day. You listen. You care. You try. You do everything the world told you a good man should do. And yet, you sit alone. So you ask yourself, is kindness pointless? Do women not want good men anymore? Am I doing something wrong? Here's a truth many won't say out loud. Beautiful women are never short of male attention. They're not waiting for a man to notice them. They're surrounded, constantly, by attention, affection, admiration. And most of the men around them? Good guys, nice guys, thoughtful, gentle, but also indistinct. Polite, yes, but not powerful. Caring, yes, but not grounded. Present, but not anchored. They don't create direction. They don't say, this is who I am, and this is where I'm going. They say, is this okay with you? They move through dating like it's a test they're scared to fail. But women aren't handing out report cards. They're responding to something deeper, to energy, to presence. Sometimes the man you see as undeserving is simply the one who doesn't need approval. He's not rude. He's not cold. He's just solid. He's not performing. He's not waiting to be told he's enough. He's already whole. And that wholeness carries a gravity. A woman can feel that. And when you're used to being pursued, when attention is a constant background noise, gravity stands out. Because attention flatters, but presence grounds. And we're all seeking ground, whether we admit it or not. Women don't choose based on logic alone. They don't fall for the best resume. They fall into feeling, into energy, into the way a man makes them feel inside their body. Sometimes that feeling is chaos. Sometimes it's mystery. Sometimes it's safety. But it's always real. That's why women will say, I don't know why I'm drawn to him. Because the draw isn't always rational. It's energetic. Nice guys and many good men confuse kindness with attraction. They believe, if I'm good enough, she'll choose me. But attraction doesn't work that way. It doesn't reward goodness. It responds to depth, to truth, to certainty. She doesn't need you to be rich, or famous, or charming. She needs to feel that if she lets go, she won't have to hold a frame for both of you. She needs to know she's walking beside a man who can hold his own shape, even when life shakes. Because life will shake. You don't need to stop being kind, but you do need to stop offering your soul in exchange for validation. You need to stop treating relationships like negotiations. If I give more of myself, will you stay? If I bend a little more, will you finally choose me? Because love isn't built on bargaining. It's built on truth. And no one man or woman can love what isn't rooted in its own truth. A Stoic man lives by his code, not by trends, not by tactics, not by tricks. He doesn't seduce, he stands. He doesn't manipulate. He moves forward. He knows who he is, and he lives that with or without applause. Marcus Aurelius wrote, each morning, remind yourself, you will meet people who are selfish, ungrateful, arrogant. But he didn't write those words in bitterness. He wrote them to protect his peace, to remind himself, don't lose your shape just because others have lost theirs. Not even for love, especially not for love, because many men dissolve in love. They drop their boundaries to keep someone close. They soften themselves into something shapeless, hoping to be accepted, but there is no peace in a connection where you lose your core to maintain it. If she walks away, the Stoic man doesn't ask, was I not enough? He asks, did I betray myself in the process of loving her? If the answer is yes, he learns. If the answer is no, he lets go. He doesn't build identity around rejection. He doesn't crumble when affection is withdrawn, because his worth is not something handed to him. It's something he guards, day by day, thought by thought, choice by choice. Stoicism isn't about being emotionally numb. It's not detachment out of fear. It's clarity in the presence of feeling. It's being the mountain, not the storm. And when a woman meets a man who is not shaken by her mood, her beauty, or her withdrawal, something inside her breathes deeper. You don't need to pretend to be a jerk. You don't need bravado. You don't need tricks. You need stillness. You need rootedness. You need the kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. Because confidence isn't volume, it's consistency. And in a world of noise, the man who is consistent becomes magnetic. She didn't walk away because you weren't good. She walked away because she couldn't feel herself relax into your presence. Because she didn't feel held, emotionally, energetically, not controlled, not dominated, held. And that kind of holding doesn't come from control. It comes from stillness, from being okay with being alone, from choosing yourself fully, even when no one else does. You might be asking, isn't that lonely? Yes, sometimes painfully so, but there is a sacred solitude that shapes a man. It chisels him from the inside. It builds silence into strength, because when you sit with yourself, with no applause, no approval, you meet the man who was there all along. And that is the man a woman can trust, because he's not hiding, he's not chasing, he's not collapsing. He's simply there, still, solid, whole. You ever sat in silence and asked, why not me? Why do they always choose those guys? Am I too soft? Too available? Too safe? Maybe you weren't too kind. Maybe you just weren't centered. Because without center, kindness is forgettable. Without weight, even goodness can be passed over. You don't need to be chosen. You need to become the kind of man who is remembered, even by those who left. Don't be kind to be loved. Be kind because that's who you are, even when no one's watching. But also be firm. Be defined. Be immovable in your principles. Because boundaries don't scare away the right woman. They signal safety. A woman doesn't need you to solve her life. She needs to feel she can step into your presence without becoming your oxygen. She needs to feel that even if she pulls away, you don't fall apart. That is the paradox. The more whole you are without her, the more deeply she can rest beside you. Final truth? You don't need her to choose you. You need to choose yourself with such conviction, such unwavering self-respect, that she feels your presence before you even speak.